Hello, I'm Sue Lynn. Thanks very much for joining me today for this little session on hamstrings. We're going to learn a little bit about the anatomy of hamstrings, and then I'm going to take you through a self-massage that will hopefully help to condition and tone our hamstrings to do for us what they were meant to do before we got short and tight. So hamstrings are actually a group of 4 muscles. We tend to forget about it, and people tend to talk about hamstring as if it's one large muscle. Here's the name of the 4 muscles. I'm not even going to try to pronounce them. But what's really important is just to know that all 4 need to work, slide, glide, lengthen, and contract for a lot of our mobility. But the key 3 functions of the hamstrings are hip extension, which is allowing our leg to extend forward away from our hip, which is what we're doing when we're walking in a nice long stride. The second is knee flexion, which means to bend our knee, and we're going to get you to just feel that when we stand up together. But the hamstrings need to contract for the knee to bend and bring the calf in towards the back of our thigh. And then lastly, and very important, is a knee joint stabilizer. So the hamstring muscles you're going to see in a couple of diagrams actually come and surround the knee joint, and that's how they stabilize. So you may wonder why you're suggested to do hamstring strengthening exercises by physiotherapists for knee problems, and this is why it's really, really important. So let's take first a look at the hamstrings. There's the 4 hamstring muscles, and look at how they connect up into our sitting bone, and then they wrap down around the knee joint and connect to the top of our tibia and our fibula, which are the shin bones in our calves. Now, if I layer that one more, you're going to see how the hamstrings connect into that sitting bone underneath the big gluteus muscle. And so you can see how deep that connection is. And again, why now it's important for the gluteus muscles to be working nicely with the hamstring. But what I really like about this diagram is come down and look at the connection to the shin bones. You'll see that the hamstring muscle doesn't actually connect into the knee joint itself. It comes down, wraps around, and that's the stabilization that is referred to for the knee joint. And then they connect down here. If I take you one more layer over, there's a view of the hamstrings inside the skin and the full hip. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how that hamstring muscle series works together. And again, you're going to see how it wraps down and around and supports that knee joint. So now let's move on and just get a feel for what those functions are for the hamstrings. And then I'm going to show you a very simple self-massage technique that we can work on. All right, let's take a look at those functions that we talked about. So what the extension that the hamstrings are serving is, if you think about when you walk and you need to extend your leg forward to take that nice long stride, that's your hamstring lengthening out to allow for that extension of the leg. So we're not working on hamstrings so that we can do a beautiful forward fold in yoga. We're actually lengthening the hamstrings so that they can work as designed and continue to let us do a nice, natural, long stride. Now, as they tighten, there's many things that contribute to us starting to do these short little shuffle walks. But one of those could be the hamstrings tightening up so gradually over time that we hardly notice it. And before you know it, we're taking little short steps because the body is just not comfortable taking that nice long extension from the hip. Now, obviously, if you're on uneven surface or anything slippery, you've got to be careful with that walking. But otherwise, we should still be able to take a nice, long, natural stride and let those hamstrings lengthen as needed and come back to a resting state when they're not needed to work. And I like to think of a runway model. Think of those beautiful long legs in the runways. I'll bet none of those models have short, tight hamstrings because they just would not be able to have that beautiful, elegant walk. Now, I want you to try this. Place your hand on the back of your thigh, and as you bend your knee, you're going to feel what that knee flexion function is. You're going to feel your hamstrings contract as you bend the knee because the hamstrings are going to contract and shorten to help you be able to draw the bottom part of the leg up and allow that knee to bend. Now, again, if you can't bend the knee, there's lots of other things happening. But if you remember that diagram, those hamstrings that are connecting down around the knee joint, if they're not healthy and pliable, there's going to be more restriction. And then if those four muscles aren't able to glide and slide naturally with lots of lubrication in there and lots of hydration, any yanking is going to alter the alignment of that knee, both in the flexion, both in the extension. So that's why hamstrings are so important. It's not for our forward fold in yoga, it's for our daily healthy functioning. So before we do self-massage, let's just do a very quick assessment of our hamstrings and whether or not they can elongate nicely or whether we feel any constriction and shortness in there. So if you have a chair in front of you or a block, just try folding forward. Start with your knees bent. Fold forward. Bring your hands either to the seat of a chair, down to a block, or down to the floor. And then slowly, as you inhale, start to open the back of the knees, lift the hips up, and just do this a few times. And just notice how deeply that range of hip flexion and lengthening of the hamstrings can be. Now, when you think you've reached your edge, go ahead and just hold it for a moment. See if you can let the head and the neck go. I can reach down to the floor, but some of you will not. Don't force yourself. Long, smooth breaths. Just start to feel what you feel around the knees, along the hamstrings, even up into the lower back. Remembering that everything is connected. Tightness in one area of the body is going to affect many of the other areas. And then we'll come back to this after we do our self-massage and just see how it feels. All right, so now I'm just going to adjust my camera so that we can get a little bit closer look. You're going to need a chair, and you're going to need, ideally, a wooden roller. The one I like to use, and you'll see from my other videos, I also use this on my feet, and it's great for a lot of other parts of the body. It's a 1¼ inch diameter. You can see my little smiley face on here. I might use this end so that you can see the dark circle as we're massaging. But I like using wood because it's just got a nice natural give to it and yet is firm. So let's come down seated in the chair. I'm going to start with my right leg. Sitting comfortably. You can even lean back in the chair a little bit. Get a nice view here. And place the roller right underneath the middle of the upper thigh. So right halfway between the knee and your hip. You can see that sideways. And be sure that your foot is relaxed on the floor. We're going to try to keep the foot right there and gradually start to just rock the knee and the thigh side to side. With all self-massage, I like to encourage moving with your breath. And let's do 10 side to side in each spot. Inhale to one side, exhale the other. Or if you can stretch your breath, even better if you can take an inhale one side and back. Exhale one side and back. Put on some nice background music as you do this rolling. And what you're going to see and feel as you go side to side is those hamstring muscles rolling and almost like tight cables being untangled as we roll horizontally across the belly of that muscle. And then we're going to move it down a little further down, closer to the knee. Same thing, rest the foot down, relax the upper body, and roll side to side. Just notice what you feel. Don't ever go into any pain or strain. You can decide how much pressure, if you actually need to lighten up as you're rolling side to side because it's too intense, then just lift the foot up a little or even put a block underneath the foot so that the thigh is not quite as heavy. If you think you can add a little bit more weight, you can lean forward and you're going to notice right away a little more weight in that rocking. And then let's move it up to the top of the thigh, right near that sitting bone where those hamstring muscles are connecting. A little bit more flesh up here, so you may not feel the rolling quite as deeply as you did in the lower parts of that thigh. Again, check in with your breath. Nice, smooth, long rhythm of a breath. Notice what part of the thigh you liked best. I'm just guiding you to these 3 spots, but there's nothing to say that you couldn't pace it out and do 10 spots gradually an inch apart. I just want to give you this as a demo. Now come back to the center where we started. Relax yourself. Inhale and exhale. Now on the next inhale, straighten the leg right out in front. Try to keep the toes pointed up to ceiling if you can. And exhale down and rest. Inhale up. Exhale lower. Inhale up. Exhale lower. Inhale up. Exhale lower. Inhale up. Now hold it there. Point and flex your toes. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. And now circle all the way around. As you're moving the ankle, the foot, can you feel your hamstrings gently getting worked and conditioned along that roller? You can feel, even though that's where you're moving, you're going to feel the entire leg muscle engaged. And slowly change direction. Try to inhale 1 circle, exhale 1 circle. Lovely, and relax. Let's move over to the other leg. Obviously I'm turning so you can see in the camera. You can stay right where you are, and we're going to start at the first spot right in the middle of the thigh. Relax back. Be sure that foot is resting on the floor. Inhale and exhale. If you're in a slippery chair, you might need to hold this. Six, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's move it down to the bottom of the thigh. Relax the foot. Inhale And start to rock side to side. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One of my clients, after learning this in class, is now doing it almost daily with their morning coffee. And again, you don't have to count, but if you're the type of person who rushes through things, I encourage counting just to make sure that you get a nice number of repeats. But if you're nice and relaxed, having a nice cup of coffee, you can just roll side to side until your body tells you it's had a nice little workout. And as you're working it, just visualize that slide you saw at the beginning of the session. Visualize those muscles getting a nice rock and massage. This is exactly what your massage therapist would do for your hamstrings. You can do it on your own. Condition the muscles. So when you see your massage therapist, they can go deeper because you've already conditioned the superficial tightness. And then back to the center. Rest it there. Inhale. Exhale, relax. Now inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, relax down. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, relax. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, relax. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, relax. Inhale, straighten. Hold it there. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point, and circle the ankle around. Again, notice what you feel and the muscles coming right up the leg. Can you feel a little bit of movement in those hamstrings as you move the muscles around that roller? If you're not feeling much, again, you can hinge yourself forward. Just 1 inch forward is going to add weight to that thigh. And slowly change direction. Inhale 1 circle, exhale 1 circle. Again, I'm walking you through this very quickly to give you a demo. Take as much time as you have. And again, the more you practice it, the more you condition those muscles, the more pliability you're going to bring. Remember the principle, wherever you massage, you bring attention. Wherever attention goes, energy follows. And that's what brings healing, hydration, and lubrication. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed that. Let's come to standing again. And just check out with that very little bit of conditioning work and self-massage, how do your hamstrings feel? So first of all, just stand, close your eyes, and just focus on the legs. What do you feel? Have the hamstrings maybe gotten a little fluffier and lighter? It's very, very subtle. And then slowly hinge yourself forward. Again, start with knees bent, come to chair level, block level, or down to the floor. Inhale, lift the hips, gently open the back of the knees. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And just notice subtly for yourself, has anything at all changed? Then try holding again.
Let the spine, the head, and the neck relax. Shake the head. No, not the head. Yes. How do the back of the legs feel? How does the knee feel? Maybe you've got a bit of release in the low back. Bend your knees, slowly come back up to standing. And that's the end of our little conditioning work for our hamstrings. So thank you so much for joining me today. Give it a try. I'd love to hear how it feels. Again, don't overdo it. Listen to your body, honor your body. It knows how deep to go, how long to go. Close your eyes. Let your body guide you. I used our minds to just walk you through it, give you a feel. After that, just let your body guide you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. See you again next video.